jaw-dropping moments on paternity court.
I don't understand how driving up in front of women's houses, inviting them in the car, and then having unprotected sex allows you to then say later on, you know, I'm just not really into all this child support stuff. Yes, you are. You like child support.
How can you
So
change
that's why
overnight?
they say don't judge a book by its cover,
That
because
is so
Mr.
true.
Phillips, you got your little bow tie on, looking like you might leave here and go on to church.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. Well, the same goes for relationships. Turned lovers from friends with benefits, Miss Wilson and Mr. Phillips had zero trust for each other. But since little hope had entered their equation, paternity doubts have just made things worse.
The relationship started with sex and it ended because of sex.
Yes, when you build a relationship like that from the beginning, of course you're gonna have extreme trust issues. And so 7 years later, we never got over our trust issues. It was you couldn't go to the store without accusing, we couldn't go.
Someone else was
Yes,
having sex or doing something.
exactly.
Explaining to the judge how everything started, Miss Wilson sounded confident, testifying what she thought went wrong, and that was the very core of this relationship. However, the judge had some more digging to do. She decides to ask Mr. Phillips about his doubts.
We were separated at a point in time. During that point in time, she led me to believe that I was the only man that she was sexually involved with. But she let me know she was doing the clubs and she was dating people, but she was not sexually involved with anybody. One of my friends was inside the club with her. She was making love in the club. She was tongue kissing, she was grappling, she was going to the 10 with a guy.
If you find such an arrangement a shocker, well, let me tell you that Mr. Phillips had caught his ex-girlfriend making love in the club. Whoa, that's not a happy place to be at, and we all know what such revelations call for. Yeah, let's get that other gentleman in the witness box.
Mr. Phillips contends that you were with Ms. Wilson in the club, that you were kissing in the club.
I was.
Were
We
you
weren't
kissing?
She was showing me how to kiss.
I'm a good teacher.
So
Yes.
you were at school getting a lesson.
That is
Yes,
correct, Your
I
Honor.
was
You
getting a lesson.
weren't really kissing her. It was a lesson.
Right.
Wait, what's happening? That's not normal, people. Like, how does someone go on doing that sort of stuff? Jeez, it's like she wanted baby daddy to doubt her. If kissing 101 wasn't enough, the woman had been roaming around on vacations with the same man.
I have a son that is Mexican black.
A
She's
biracial
identical
child.
to my son. They are twins.
And you say this child resembles your child, so it leads you to believe that this child is as well.
Yes.
That's his imagination. Even if I did sleep with the man in question, it was my business, not his.
What did we just hear? Let's just leave it there and focus on figuring out who the father is. Also, don't let the bow tie fool you. Mr. Phillips himself has been living the street life. So these adults meddling around have now given birth to another child seeking paternity.
You two established this anything goes, thrill-seeking, let's be single and have fun relationship.
Yes.
But then it backfired.
She knew in my whole delivery that I was a player, that I was a bachelor, that I was living that life when she met me.
If we can all just be a little responsible in what we do and how we plan to make life choices. Ain't that right? Both parties were in the courtroom to solve this paternity triangle, feeling the anticipation of the DNA results in the room. This is how it all went down.
Mr. Phillips, you are her father.
Give me a break. There's a streak of such paternity cases? Well, all right, here's another one. As absurd as it may sound, a Facebook connection resulted in a one-night stand, and now Mr. Williams denies fathering an 8-month-old baby girl. Buckle up for this one.
Mr. Williams knows this baby is his. He's been running for 9 months now.
So you say he's done nothing for the baby?
Nothing.
You haven't done anything, Mr. Williams?
No, Your Honor, this is not my baby. She knows she's sleeping around with other men, and she's trying to put a baby on me that's not mine, so
So you just admittedly haven't done anything?
no, Your Honor.
As the baby sleeps offset, the courtroom is in session, eager to determine her fate. Ms. Jackson made it clear that they reached out to each other online, and one thing led to another. After some time, she missed her cycle, and as soon as she told this to Mr. Clownface, he ghosted his baby mama-to-be.
You had sex with her without protection, right?
Everybody else did too, right?
Everybody else like who? Who is everybody else?
Well, who
Who is
is
everybody else?
I want to know, like Miss Jackson, who is everybody else?
She know who everybody else is.
I contacted him again when I found out that I was actually pregnant. He blocked me on Facebook.
What was the defendant thinking? Well, sir, it's a reminder for you that your actions have consequences. Instead of ghosting your responsibilities, man up, face the music. But anyway, here's what she did after getting blocked on Facebook.
I created a fake page.
Created a fake
Pages.
page.
A
Pages.
fake page and
Pages.
reached out to him again to let him know that I was indeed pregnant.
And did you ever get any response?
No.
So you were
Fake page.
ignoring this.
Yes, fake pages, and I don't allow disrespect. You calling me about something and you disrespecting me, that's a no-no.
Yeah, that's right, now you got standards. Come on, man. Use that third brain of yours for something else. However, he continuously explains the entire events through his understanding at best. If that wasn't all dumb enough for you, well, listen here. Here's what he has to say next.
And so you felt like she was chasing you down about the baby because she needed support for the baby, and you felt like she was targeting you.
Yeah, she was targeting me, reason being, she stated that she had sex with another dude right the next gate behind me. So, and then once she told me that, I said, why are you chasing me down?
With each added testimony, things are just getting more complicated. And now there was another man in the picture. This allegation needed an immediate response from Miss Jackson. She begins by putting all the details on the table that had Judge Lake preaching.
I called him, yes, and I did tell him that I was with somebody else.
The day after?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you didn't use protection.
No, Your Honor.
So did you tell this other man you were pregnant as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you tell this other man it could potentially be his baby as well?
No, Your Honor.
Did you put this other man on child support?
No, Your Honor.
Judge Lake wasn't going to stop there, as she found out that the baby mama had put both the men on child support, knowing she had been promiscuous. Miss Jackson had some sense talking coming her way. That might expose some hard-learned truth.
These are the issues as a young woman you have to understand that perpetuates the cycle of paternity issues.
Right.
Because I see too often men come in this courtroom saying, well, why she named me? It's not that they are not equally as at fault in the situation.
However, their to and fro allegations were all over and made things more complicated, and Miss Plaintiff was busy with her storytelling streak. So the last hope to get closure was to reveal whatever was hiding in the DNA envelope. Let's go ahead and find out.
Mr. Williams, you are the father.
I told you.
Oh,
You said you don't mind no child support,
I
so we're
don't,
not
well-
gonna have any problems.
it won't have no problems.
Good.
I apologize for everything.
Solving another paternity maze. This time, Judge Lake encounters two potential sisters claiming Mr. Sandiford is their biological father, who believes one is his child and is certain the other is not. Oh, this case was a mess right from the start.
Mr. Sandiford, so you said you had been there for her whole life.
No, ma'am, not her whole life.
So you've been there in what capacity?
I would say half of it.
And you've acted as a father.
No, he did not.
Okay, so the daughter and potential father had issues, and they surfaced as soon as the case was opened. Judge Lake asked the defendant to shed light on his doubts, and oh boy, he was prepping for this all his life. He went by the book, explaining everything.
I was upset, Your Honor, at that point in time because she just kept on aggravating me about money, and that's the only time
that's
I've
a-
ever heard from her is when it was money.
You've never done anything for me. With me.
What do you mean I have never done anything?
You've never
for you?
done
I carried you to the park, I carried you to the fairs.
When?
Oh, that got turned around quickly. Like they say, grass isn't always greener on the other side. The alleged father had no empathy whatsoever, but Miss Plaintiff had it all written in her eyes. Although old daddy was sure of what he thought was true, Miss Plaintiff had some more wounds to scratch at.
When I was 13 years old, January, my grandmother passed away, and right after that, I lost my grandfather. On my grandfather's deathbed, he specifically asked my dad if he would take care of his girls, stating me and my mom. He said yes. If he wasn't my father, why
Your
would he?
mother found another man in her life, so why
And
did
he's
I
took
need to be
care
in
of
the
me, so
picture?
what does
He
that
has?
matter?
Okay,
He's
all
took care of
right.
me.
Mr. Sandiford claimed that there was another man at the hospital at the time Miss Samantha was born. Now, this one unusual claim has a fun part to it. Only the alleged father knows if he was lying or not. After this, with both parties immediately looking for closure, the session proceeds something like this.
Why were you there as a friend instead of as a potential or
Because
new
I
father?
didn't know if I was the father because she slept with so many different men.
Upon calling Miss Boyer at the podium, she in testimony also claims the same. But wait right there, folks. The Big Daddy has some ammunition locked and loaded in his gun. he presents the court with evidence to which Miss Plaintiff responded unappreciated.
The reason there is another man on my birth certificate, Your Honor, is because my mother was married and separated.
And told me I was the father.
But because she was still married back 30 years ago, you had to put your husband on the birth certificate.
Mr. Sandifer, you were there when Tuesday was born,
Yes,
Ms.
Your
Boyer?
Honor.
Ugh, we're now witnessing just a mess. The alleged father sounds way too sure about his stance and isn't letting anyone climb the ladder. Today, luck wasn't on Miss Boyer's side either. In another attempt to make him believe she's right, she states some more facts to make him question whether this is all black or white.
After that entire legal battle, did you believe Ms. Boyer was your biological child?
Not really, Your Honor, because I still have doubts just because of the paperwork.
If you're not my dad, why did you fight for me?
Because I love you and I manned up.
This is just one big family tug of war. Neither one was willing to step down and accept what went wrong, and years after, they all have to go through such turmoil. And as you know, Judge Lake has a reputation of staying on the theme, and so decided to pull out that good old DNA envelope.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Sandifer are not her father. In the case of Fields Boyer v. Sandifer, court has determined Mr. Sandifer are not her father.
Miss Robinson had to roll up to the court along with her boyfriend to prove he is the biological father of her 2-month-old fraternal twins. He believes that he wasn't the only man painting in white. Ugh, gross. A pure example of what we call maternity is a matter of fact, but paternity is a matter of opinion.
He accused me of sleeping with everybody named Mama. Seriously.
Have you been accusing her of sleeping with everybody,
No,
Mr.
Your
Smith?
Honor. I don't accuse her with sleeping with everybody and her mama. It's only certain people I accuse her of sleeping with.
The trial began with Miss Robinson explaining the nature of their relationship. Turns out it wasn't all sunshine in the beginning. But as time passed, the foundation of the relationship was shaken by constant accusations of committing infidelity. Oh boy, that's a classic one.
She came and got me from work one day. He would confront me about a parking spot. You know what I'm saying? I had a doubt in my mind.
Wait, he confronted you about a parking spot, so you
Yeah.
looked at her and said, you sleeping with him?
The twins' daddy was paranoid about multiple factors. He didn't buy all the show that was put up by Miss Robinson. However, he has more genuine doubts to portray before he reaches an ultimate conclusion. This is what he further added to his testimony.
Is this the only man you think she's potentially sleeping with?
Almost my brother, my friend. Like, he come over there unannounced all the time.
No, you was lying. He came to the house one time looking for you.
He came
and that
over
was
there
it.
multiple times without me even knowing. I'm at work.
Lord.
Why?
You gonna sit here
Why?
and lie like that
sir.
in court?
Huh. So these concerns have made Mr. Smith protective about his girlfriend. But this sounded like a deep-rooted insecurity to me. Well, anyway, Judge Lake calls in the accused best friend to shed some light on what's happening. This is what he has to say.
Have you had a relationship with Ms. Robinson? Have you been showing up over that house while Mr. Smith was at work?
All right, first off, it was one time. I want to go party. He don't pick up his phone most of the time, so I pull up over there.
And we know it only takes one time to have a baby in this courtroom.
Mr. Plaintiff also brought a timeline explaining how he didn't think the conception dates added up. And damn, no amount of justification is gonna make him stop believing what he thinks. He explains to the judge what adds lemon to his imagination.
I have major proof.
He don't
Major
have no
is
proof.
I was incarcerated from the 20th of July to the 3rd. We had sex one time. A week or so later, she tell me she's 2 weeks pregnant.
So your real issue is the timeline.
The timeline.
And the window of conception.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if that wasn't enough for Mr. Paranoid, his girlfriend reveals another interesting detail of the story that's got me wondering. What childhood trauma would you experience to make your brain think like that? Let's see what she has to say.
When I went to the hospital, he had left to get some food. And when he went to go get some food, the babies end up coming. He missed it, but he was up there, and then he came and seen my babies, and he gonna go out in the hallway and tell my mama, my babies look like somebody else.
Well, Mr. Smith, in my conclusion, sir, you might be in the wrong profession. You should really consider being a private investigator. Well, back to the hearing. After all the lies and the testimony, it's time for Judge Lake to give this couple some clarification on their concerns. Who wants to say it with me this time? Show us the results!
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Smith, you are the father.
Hey!
What are you feeling in this moment, Mr. Smith?
We been going through a lot of stuff, man.